Every profession has its own secret language, right? Doctors have their terms, coders have their jargon, and it turns out workplace safety is exactly the same. So today, we're going to decode this hidden language, a set of terms designed not to be confusing, but to keep every single person safe. So let's just picture this. You're at work. You hear this loud thud. A box has just fallen off a high shelf. Now, luckily, nobody was standing under it, so no one's hurt. The big question is, does it even matter? Just keep that question in the back of your mind. To really get why that falling box does matter, we've got to rewind a little bit, back to before it even fell. See, real safety isn't about reacting to accidents. It's about understanding the conditions that let them happen in the first place. And that all starts with two fundamental ideas. First up, we have a hazard. Now, this is super simple. It's just anything that has the potential to cause harm. Think of it as the source of the danger. It could be a wet floor, a frayed electrical wire, or, that box sitting kind of wobbly on a high shelf. But see, a hazard by itself doesn't really tell you the full story. And that's where our next word comes in, risk. Risk is the chance, the probability that the hazard is actually going to hurt someone. You can have a hazard with almost no risk or one with a crazy high risk. Okay, here's the perfect way to think about it. A shark swimming out in the ocean is a hazard, right? It definitely has the potential to cause harm. But if you're just sunbathing on the beach, the risk is basically zero. The second you decide to jump in the water and swim near it, well, the hazard, the shark, is still the same. But your actions just cranked the risk level way, way up. All right, so you've got hazards all around you and you've got risks you're navigating. And then, eventually, something happens. That box we talked about, it falls. Now we've officially moved from the world of potential harm to an actual real-life event. This quote is from a real-life safety report. A rock fell, but it missed me by 1 meter. Just let that sink in for a second. 1 meter. A few feet. That was the only thing standing between a totally normal workday and an absolute tragedy. This is the perfect example of our next key term. That event is what we call a near miss, an incident where nobody got hurt, but they easily could have been. The falling box, that falling rock, those are near misses. And here's the most important thing to get. These are not lucky breaks. No way. They are giant, flashing, neon warning signs that something in your system is broken and needs to be fixed. So what happens when it's not a near miss, when it's a direct hit? Well, injuries are usually classified by how severe they are, and we often show this as a pyramid. Down at the wide base, you've got your minor first aid injuries. As you go up, they get more serious, needing medical treatment, then maybe restricting what work you can do. And right at the very top, you have the most severe injuries, the ones that cause someone to miss work completely. What's wild is that for every single major injury at the top of that pyramid, studies show there are often hundreds of those near misses at the bottom. It's proof that if you ignore the small stuff, a disaster is just waiting to happen. Now, whether it was a near miss or a really serious injury, once something happens, a formal process kicks into gear. And this is not about pointing fingers or getting people in trouble. It's about making sure that every single event becomes a lesson we can learn from. This brings us to what is maybe the single most important rule of any good safety system. Report everything. I mean it. An unreported near miss is a lesson just lost forever. It's a chance to fix a problem before it actually hurts someone, and you just threw it away. If nobody reports that a step on a ladder is broken, it's not a matter of if someone will get hurt, it's just a matter of when. So where do all these reports go? They get logged into what's called an event management system, or an EMS. Just think of it like the central nervous system for safety. It's a digital hub where every single incident from the tiniest near miss on up gets recorded, tracked, and managed all the way to the end. So, as you can see, we have a really precise language for this stuff. These acronyms aren't just corporate jargon. They're a critical shorthand so everyone can instantly understand the seriousness and, the human cost of any incident. Okay, so reporting an incident is just the first step. The real work begins right after it's logged. This is the part where safety pros basically become detectives, piecing together all the clues to solve the puzzle of what really went wrong. And that entire investigation, all of it, really just boils down to this one simple, powerful question. Why? Not who is to blame, but why did this actually happen? Why was that box on an unstable shelf? Why was someone walking in that area at that exact moment? Why?
The whole goal is to keep digging until you find the root cause. This is the real, deep-down reason the incident happened. And it's almost never just one simple thing. The immediate cause might be the box fell, but the root cause might be something like inadequate storage procedures or a total lack of training. Finding that is the only way to stop it from happening over and over again.
Once you find that root cause, you take action. A corrective action that fixes the immediate problem. You pick up the box. It's like treating the symptom. But a preventative action, that's different. That aims to stop the problem from ever happening again. That's curing the disease. You might retrain everybody on storage procedures or maybe install totally new, safer shelving. See the difference? It's a Band-Aid versus a vaccine. So all of this, reporting every little thing, investigating, digging for that root cause, it's about so much more than just one falling box. The ultimate goal here is to build a kind of workplace, a culture, where that box never feels unstable enough to fall in the first place. And that's what's known as a safety culture. And look, it's got nothing to do with posters on the wall or some dusty rulebook. It's the shared values. It's the gut feeling of how things are done around here. It's what people do when they think nobody is watching. It's a collective promise to look out for each other. A strong safety culture doesn't just happen by magic. It's built on purpose on these pillars. Things like leaders who actually walk the talk, having clear procedures that everyone follows, and creating an environment where people aren't afraid to report those near misses. It's about being committed to learning and to never, ever stop trying to get better. But how on earth do you measure something as kind of abstract as a culture? Well, a lot of times, organizations try to boil it down into a single number, like this one. 2.35. What could that possibly mean? This number is a TRIFR. That stands for Total Recordable Injury Frequency Rate. Now, it sounds way more complicated than it is. It's simply a standard way to measure the number of serious injuries for every 1 million hours that people work. It takes that fuzzy idea of safety and turns it into a hard number that you can actually track and try to drive down. And the goal for that number, for every safety program, for everything we've talked about, is always the same: zero harm. It's the fundamental belief that every single injury is preventable and that every single person has the absolute right to go home from work in the exact same condition they arrived in. Because in the end, when you strip away all this language we've just decoded, the hazards, the risks, the near misses, the root causes, it all serves one simple, universal purpose: making sure everyone goes home safely. So I'll just leave you with this thought. What's one small risk you can reduce today? Not just for yourself, but to help build that culture of safety for everyone around you.